The night air was heavy in Springfield, Missouri on June 6, 1992. A summer heat clung to the quiet streets, as if the town itself was holding its breath. Porch lights flickered, crickets chirped, and neighbors drifted into sleep. Yet within hours, a mystery would unfold that would leave the town and the nation haunted for decades. Springfield was not the sort of place one associated with vanishing acts. Known as the Queen City of the Ozarks, it was a town of friendly greetings, church on Sundays, and neighbors who still borrowed sugar. Safe, suburban, steady. At least that's what everyone believed. The kind of place where people left doors unlocked and felt secure in their own homes. But that security would be shattered overnight. For Suzanne, Suzie, Streeter, and Stacy McCall, both barely out of high school, the evening had been filled with laughter and celebration. Graduation had just passed, marking the end of one chapter and the hopeful beginning of another. They had bounced between parties, hugged friends goodbye, and shared whispers of excitement about their trip to a water park the next morning. It was supposed to be carefree. Instead, it would be the last night anyone saw them alive. There were small signs, almost too subtle to matter at first glance. A light bulb broken on the front porch. A strange message on the answering machine. Things that could be explained away in any other circumstance. But when combined with what would follow, these details became chilling foreshadowing, clues to a puzzle with missing pieces. Inside the small house on 1717 East Delmar Street lived 47-year-old Sherrill Levitt, Suzie's mother. A hairdresser by trade, she was known as hardworking and devoted, with a sharp sense of humor. She had remodeled the house herself, building a safe haven for her daughter as Suzie prepared to enter adulthood. Their bond was unusually close, strengthened by years of shared challenges. Sherrill wasn't just a mother, she was a confidant. Suzie Streeter, 19, was spirited and artistic, with blonde hair that seemed to catch the light. She loved animals, cars, and music, and had dreams of working in cosmetology like her mother. Her best friend, 18-year-old Stacy McCall, was equally full of life. Bubbly, kind-hearted, and just beginning to navigate independence. Together, the girls radiated the optimism of youth, unaware of the darkness waiting to engulf them. As the parties wound down that night, the girls initially planned to stay at a friend's house. But with too many people crowded inside, they decided instead to head to Suzie's home. It was late, but it felt harmless. Springfield was safe, after all. At 2 a.m., they drove to Sherrill's home, planning to sleep just a few hours before heading out on their much-anticipated trip. The following morning, friends arrived to pick them up. What they found was unnerving. The driveway held 3 cars, Sherrill's, Suzie's, and Stacy's, lined up neatly. Inside, the purses of all 3 women sat untouched. Cigarettes were left behind, and makeup lay neatly in place. Even their dog, a small terrier, was inside, unharmed but anxious. Everything suggested normalcy. Except for one thing. The women were gone. There were no signs of forced entry, no shattered glass, no overturned furniture. It looked as if the women had simply evaporated into the night. The only oddities were the broken porch light and a voicemail on the answering machine, described by one friend as strange before it was accidentally erased by police. To this day, no one knows what it said. At first, friends wondered if the women had stepped out briefly. But as hours passed and phone calls went unanswered, panic spread. Family members reported them missing, and within days, Springfield was engulfed in a storm of fear. What had happened inside that quiet home? How could 3 people vanish without a sound? The community response was immediate. Volunteers fanned out, searching parks, rivers, and wooded areas. Flyers were plastered across the city with the women's faces. Local news stations broadcast updates constantly, and the case drew national attention. But as the days stretched into weeks, no bodies, no clues, and no suspects emerged. Whispers began circulating in hushed tones. Some suggested a stalker had followed the girls from the graduation party. Others believed it was a random home invasion. A few whispered darker theories, ritualistic cult activity, or even human trafficking. With each passing day, speculation grew wilder, while fear settled like fog across Springfield. The police scrambled to piece together a timeline. Witnesses confirmed the girls had arrived at Sherrill's home around 2 a.m. The broken porch light may have been from an accident, or from someone deliberately removing a source of visibility. The erased answering machine message haunted investigators. Had it contained a confession, a threat, or a clue? Suspects quickly emerged. One of the most notorious was Robert Craig Cox, a convicted kidnapper with ties to Springfield. Cox later claimed to know exactly what happened to the women, stating they had been murdered and buried. Yet he refused to provide specifics unless granted immunity. His chilling confidence sent shivers through investigators, but without evidence, his words were nothing more than a taunt. Rumors also swirled about acquaintances of Suzie's, men tied to drug trafficking and violence. Could someone from their circle have sought revenge? Or had the women simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time, victims of a predator who spotted an opportunity? As police interviews mounted, inconsistencies began to emerge. Witness accounts conflicted about what time the women had last been seen. Neighbors reported nothing unusual, yet others claimed they'd heard noises. With each new lead came contradictions, muddying the waters. Forensic analysis offered little help. The house showed no blood, no struggle, no fingerprints beyond the usual. The scene was disturbingly clean. Too clean. Some investigators believed the lack of evidence suggested the women had left voluntarily. Others were convinced it pointed to a skilled abductor who knew how to leave no trace. Still, the timeline painted a disturbing picture. 3 women, alive and well in the early hours of June 7th. 3 cars left untouched in the driveway. A broken light, an erased message. Then, nothing. A void that swallowed them whole. The media latched onto every development. Headlines screamed about the Springfield Three, turning the victims into household names. Reporters swarmed the quiet neighborhood, cameras flashing as friends and family begged for answers. Each interview, each photograph, etched the case deeper into the public psyche. Fear gripped Springfield. Parents locked doors, teenagers canceled plans, and women refused to walk alone at night. A city that had once prided itself on safety now lived under a shadow of dread. If 3 people could vanish from their own home, no one was truly safe. Theories multiplied. Some believed a trusted acquaintance had been involved, someone who could enter the house without force. Others believed the women had been abducted randomly, caught in a crime of opportunity. A few leaned toward elaborate conspiracies involving multiple perpetrators and hidden burial sites. Police themselves came under fire. Critics pointed to mishandled evidence, like the deleted voicemail, and the fact that the crime scene was contaminated by numerous visitors before being secured. With each misstep, public confidence in the investigation eroded. Leads dried up. Searches ended in disappointment. Witnesses recanted or changed stories. The case, which had started with urgency, slowed to a crawl. Investigators hit dead ends, their frustration mounting. Then came the eerie breakthrough, Robert Craig Cox's prison confession. He told journalists that all 3 women were dead, their bodies hidden where they would never be found. His calm, matter-of-fact tone chilled everyone who listened. But was he telling the truth, or simply reveling in attention? Without evidence, his words remained just another ghost in the file. Every time investigators thought they had a lead, it unraveled. Suspects provided alibis that checked out. Witnesses retracted claims. Tips led to nowhere. It was as if the night had swallowed the Springfield Three whole. Years later, construction workers discovered a possible burial site at a local hospital. Ground-penetrating radar indicated anomalies beneath the concrete. But before it could be excavated, the site was paved over and efforts stalled. Was this the final resting place of the women, or just another cruel false lead? The absence of resolution only deepened the tragedy. Families of the victims lived in limbo, unable to grieve without closure. Sherrill's relatives mourned a mother's devotion cut short. Suzie and Stacy's friends held on to fading memories of laughter and dreams, forever haunted by what might have been. The cultural impact was undeniable. Springfield was never the same. Parents warned daughters. Neighborhoods grew watchful. The name, the Springfield Three, became a cautionary tale whispered at sleepovers, a reminder of the fragility of safety. And yet, decades later, questions still hang heavy in the air. Were they killed by someone they knew? Was it a random predator? Do their bodies lie beneath concrete, waiting to be discovered? Or did the truth vanish with them into the summer night? The house on East Delmar no longer belongs to the Levitt family. To passers-by, it looks like any other suburban home, but to those who know its story, it is a monument to absence. A place where laughter once echoed and where silence now reigns. 3 women, 3 cars, 3 lives interrupted in an instant. No ransom, no bodies, no closure. Just an empty house and a city left haunted. And so, the case remains open. A chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest mysteries are not in distant alleys or dark woods, but inside the very places we feel most safe. The story of the Springfield Three closes not with answers, but with shadows. Their faces stare back from missing posters and fading photographs, forever young, forever lost. Springfield still waits for the truth, but until it comes, their disappearance stands as one of America's most haunting, unsolved mysteries.